a time in my life when I was just sick of it. No, I'm a junior in high school, I'm always sick of it. But on a particular Monday morning after a 3-day weekend, life just hit differently. I was standing in front of the school's bike stands, realizing the time was 7:24, a minute before the bell rings. I could have easily, locked my bike, ran inside, and snuck into class. But as I was locking my bike, my bagel accidentally fell out of my backpack. Splat. Right there, cheese first, onto the sidewalk. That's it. I lost it. Well, I just sat there just crying and sobbing at the bagel while I was eating the other half of the bagel. Have you ever seen a depressing bagel? Like a fallen bagel on the sidewalk? It's rare, but it's depressing. And just imagine a high schooler. Now that I think about it, it wasn't the bagel that broke me. It was so much more. I'm gonna show you something, all right? It might not seem like a lot, but here's a super duper simplified, relatively light schedule of mine. On Friday, I had to interview the principal, go to a SCAN meeting, pick my brother up from school, go to the temple, represent the ASL department, coach my brother's basketball team, go and edit and submit the video that I did, mix music, and choreograph for a performance in exactly 2 days. Moving on to Saturday at 6 a.m., wake up, yoga class, study for a 16-page dance test, practice for an audition, make 2 birthday gifts, plan to host a party on the same day, write a resume, run a business, apply for an internship, dance, I can't even say it because it's so much. Dance class, audition, conditioning, SAT for 2 hours, I forgot to do my homework, decorate and host a community party, ditch that halfway, go to a Sweet 16, ditch that halfway, come back and pack my bag and get some sleep, and go get ready for a flight at 4 a.m. I'm not even gonna get into Sunday. But as you can imagine, on Monday, I was late, so I put together a bagel and headed out. When that exact bagel fell at the bike stands, it reminded me of every single time I felt like a splat. Sleep? Splat. Social life? Splat. Appetite? Splat. And family time? Definitely a splat. I wasn't able to give my 100% to anything because I was being pulled in one too many directions. Although the time management problems of a high schooler who thinks she's a superstar may seem insignificant, this issue is rooted much deeper into society today. We live in such a fast-paced world where we're constantly pressured to have grit, keep going, and persevere. That's great, but sometimes it's okay to sit back and just give up. Yep, I said it, give up. But does that mean that we're careless failures or weak or cowardly? No. First, it's okay to give up. There are 3 things that we need to set straight. Laziness. It's the quality of being unwilling to work or use energy. And it goes something like, I don't want to do this. And then there's cowardice. And it goes something like, I don't want to do this. And then there's carelessness. And it goes something like, I don't want to do this. Notice how they all sound similar? So if someone were to give up for any of these reasons, people would lead themselves to the assumption that that person upholds such traits. However, that may not always be true. There are a multitude of reasons why people give up, and those reasons don't necessarily have to reflect on their weaknesses. Perhaps they're just bored, or maybe they just don't have time. Imagine setting a goal of taking every opportunity presented to you and succeeding in it. Well, that's what I tried to do. And what did it leave me with? Not only was I scared to be judged by the people closest to me for not being able to uphold their expectations, but I also gave them the power to influence my decisions. They controlled my schedule. They controlled my mental status. And they controlled my happiness. At the end, it's not right or fair. My life should be under my control. There are many goals which I failed to succeed in. Regardless, they consumed large chunks of my time and took a physical toll on me. There is no guaranteed path to success, so instead of investing all my energy into doing everything, I could have explored other, less stressful opportunities to further diversify and develop myself. The thing is, I did. I stopped overbooking. I stopped saying yes to everything. And I gave up on arbitrary goals. How do I feel? Great. But does that mean that I'm lazy, cowardly, or weak? No. Taking care of my mental health should never be associated with such characteristics. In 2003, A study was done by 5 students who were exploring goal engagement, disengagement, and subjective well-being. And it's obvious that people who re-engaged in goals had higher levels of self-mastery and lower levels of perceived stress. These researchers wanted to delve deeper into the issue, so they tried to find any correlation based on age and education. Surprisingly, people who gave up had higher levels of purpose in life when they moved on from something. Now, I gotta say, success feels great. And some may argue that you always have to believe in yourself while persevering to achieve that success. But maybe we're chasing the wrong things. Not everything is about the finish line. The process is just as important. But if that process is bloating your insecurities and putting you through unnecessary pain, at the end, you'll only see the failure and not the lesson. There are no gains without pains. Yep, we've all heard that one before. But if you don't believe in yourself in the first place and you end up just trudging through a process, what's the point, you know? There's actually a term for staying with a goal even if it's futile to your success. It's called the sunk cost fallacy. Your emotional attachment to the goal clouds your logical judgment and prompts you to forcefully follow through, when in reality, it's better to just cut the losses and move on. There's a difference between giving up and knowing when you've had enough. When the whole world is racing ahead, just take a step back to see what they're leaving behind. And whenever you feel like a bagel that went splat, just remember it's okay to give up. Thank you.
Wow, good.